Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board, members of staff, and community. Thank you for being here this morning. We are going to kick off this morning, as we do every workshop, by visiting with two of our community-based partners. And the first up is Heartland for Children. So if we could invite them up to the microphone. And just so you know, on the way in from work to work today, I heard your commercial on the radio on 102.5. So great job.
Me. I am Tracy Grey. I'm the Chief Community Relations Officer with Heartland for Children. And as you can see, I've got a PowerPoint that was shared. So Heartland for Children, we've been around since 2004. We are the lead community-based care agency serving Polk, Highlands, and Hardy counties, and we are responsible for the entire foster care system. I've been at Heartland ever since we started, since 2004, so it's been a privilege to work for the agency. You can see right here that everything that we're responsible for, protective services, that is all of the case management services. So for any child that is removed from their home due to abuse and neglect by the Department of Children and Families, those cases come over to us for ongoing case management services. We're responsible for foster care, adoption, independent living, child abuse prevention, family preservation, family support services, and other related services. So I want to give you a little bit of data on what is going on in our community. So back in fiscal year 22-23, there were over 1,200 children removed from our community for abuse and neglect. Way too many kids. As of July 2023, there are over 2,000 children with open child welfare dependency cases in our community. And as I'm talking today, and I'm going to get into about the partnerships that we have with Polk County Public Schools, this data matters because these are students that are attending Polk County schools. Of those 2,076 children, 345 children were placed and are placed in foster homes. The remainder of those children, 783, are placed with relatives and non-relatives. And we really rely on relatives and non-relatives to step up and take care of children because foster care is not a place for them to be. Currently, we have 182 foster homes, and that is not enough. That is a significant decrease since COVID. We were sitting at about 250. So our efforts and part of our collaboration with the Polk County Public Schools, you'll hear shortly, will be around foster parent recruitment. And our goal is to be up to about 250 foster homes. You can see over to the right some data on some of the top child abuse maltreatments that our students in the Polk County schools suffer from. Top 5 for the year 2022-23. These typically are the top 5 from year after year. If you take a look at drug abuse by the parent is a #1 concern and reason for children being removed in our community. There were over 26% of those types of cases. So these are children that are right there in the middle of the household. There's a lot of drugs that are open. You got people coming in and out of the home, and the safety of the child is at risk. Domestic violence, you were looking at 14%. Typically, the drug abuse and domestic violence many times will go together, hand in hand, but not all the time. And then the third highest reason is your inadequate supervision. That can also go along with the drug abuse. So you might have one maltreatment and then a second maltreatment that is matched together for one child.
It's easy to miss.
Let me bridge into this video. This is a 30-second video. This is just one of our foundational videos that we show. And so I just want to kind of...
It's easy to miss when a child is hurting, when abuse happens in dark corners, when the support from a parent is absent. But when a child is embraced by a family, when hurt turns to hope, when they're nurtured and praised for the amazing things they do, then something remarkable happens. They get to be a kid. Heartland for Children. Give hope. Support families.
So this is one of our foundational videos, and I'm going to talk here shortly about some of the videos that we are going to be doing with 3 to 5 Polk County Public School employees who are also foster parents, and we're really excited about that. So here are the ways that we partner with the Polk County Public Schools. The first is our educational specialist, which is Cherie Perrin, sitting right here with me. The second is the Community Partnership School over there at Crystal Lake Elementary. This is the first and only Community Partnership School in Polk County. The third way we partner is now our most recent collaborative partnership is around the recruitment for foster families. So I want to talk first about our collaboration with our education specialist. So the role of our education specialist is to bridge the gap between those children being served by child welfare and also attending Polk County Public Schools. She attends meetings, school-based meetings, with leadership teams with the school system, and ensures that all of the educational needs of that child are met. If you think about children that are removed from their homes, many times they are placed outside of their school of origin. So there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes, and typically children that are removed will create delays in their educational learning. So during these staffings in the meetings, and you can see down the Every Student Succeeds Act, ESSA, I'm sure you've heard a lot about that. We have a small nugget, small responsibility for that. So anytime that a child changes placement in the foster care system, changes of placement, and that can happen often, we have to pull together an ESSA staffing that Cherie will facilitate to determine if it's in the best interest of that child to remain in the school of origin, or if not, then pull the folks together to talk about the school that the child needs to go to with wraparound supports. The schools are invited to attend those meetings as well, guardian ad litems, the case managers, anybody that's involved with that child. I also want to thank, I know that Lisa Miller and Cherie met at a meeting, so I want to thank Lisa Miller for really stepping up. I know we have an upcoming meeting to talk about anything that you can do. I appreciate your advocacy around children with special needs, and so we've got an upcoming meeting to talk about maybe some opportunities with that. The second partnership is around the Community Partnership School. This is at Crystal Lake Elementary. I won't go through all of this, but you can see who our core partners are. We were recently certified as a Community Partnership School, and we're very proud of that. It takes all of the core partners. We are under a 25-year commitment with each other, and we've got a director that is placed at Crystal Lake Elementary that oversees all of the social services that we have dumped in to that school. You can see that we first launched at Crystal Lake Elementary in 2018, and we're very excited that we were finally certified as a community partnership school by UCF, who's the Center for Community Partnership School, back in October of 2022. We were a year ahead of getting that school certified. You can also see here some of the outcomes for the different social services that we plugged in. I'm not going to go through those for the sake of time. The third and most recent collaborative partnership with Polk County Public Schools, I want to thank Superintendent Hyde for meeting with me a couple of months ago. And when I came to him and we sat face to face, he was all on board about recruiting foster families through the school system. It's one of the largest employers in Polk County. People that are already, whether they're instructional staff or non-instructional staff, these are people that we want to target for recruitment. So here are some things that we agreed to. I will be speaking at one of the principal meetings. We don't have that set up yet, but that's one thing that we agreed to. The superintendent already wrote a letter and sent it out to all of the principals. And you can see on the next slide the poster that we have developed to hang up in every school, every teacher's lounge, with a QR code. We're going to put something on the school's website, or excuse me, the Polk County Public Schools main website, and then we will also target other schools to help recruit foster families through their network. We're going to get into the community newsletter that's already developed and out in circulation. And the biggest thing is we're going to share stories of your employees that are already foster parents and have a great story to share. Here's the poster that we developed and was sent out to all of the schools, I believe, just kind of last week. And I want to close with a video. I know my time's up, but we got 5 minutes for questions, so I'm going to roll over a little bit. This is a 30-second video. The young adult in this video came into foster care at age 9. He attended Winter Haven High School. He is a successful adult now, and it was because he had a caring foster parent during his years in foster care. He was in foster care almost his whole life.
Because you fostered, I've learned how to reel in a fish. Because you fostered, I went hunting for the first time. Because you fostered, I had a family to celebrate birthdays, Christmas, and Thanksgivings with. Because you fostered, I became the man I am today.
And because he had that caring foster parent, he's successful. He's a mentor now. He's a basketball coach. He gives back to other children in our community. And these are types of caregivers that we are going to be looking for in the school system. Thank you. And any questions?
Ms. Miller?
I just want to say thank you and appreciate what you're doing with Heartland, and I'm excited to come and meet. I think if we can do anything to build the support for the students who need academic and behavior supports, if they have to switch schools, I think that's been our biggest challenge, to make sure the supports are following them. So I look forward to that meeting. And even at one point years ago, I would go in and talk to the foster families about, because they would be a little cautious of taking a child who might need an IEP support or 504 support. So I think we can help connect staff to maybe do some kind of regular trainings with Heartland for the foster families, that would give them another sense of relief that they won't have to face that alone. So thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you, Lisa.
Ms. Wyatt?
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you all for all that you do. I just had a couple questions. For the number of foster families that you have, are those fully taking long-term, or are those including the respite foster as well?
Those are for long-term.
Okay. And then the other question would be, is there more that the district can do to support when a foster child is placed in a new home, getting those services, busing services, uniforms, whatever it is, transitioned? I know Superintendent Hyde and I had a conversation about this recently, but with our homeless students, we have a point person on our staff. Is that something that you guys have someone, or is that something that?
Well, so Cherie is our person, and that's a great question, because when it comes to busing and transportation, that is a challenge sometimes to get that set up. We actually, I just had Cherie email the director that's over that to set a meeting with myself to just talk about some of those challenges and bust down some barriers to ensure that transportation is put into place for these children.
And then my last question, just on the transportation topic, I know you mentioned when they go into foster homes, a lot of times it's in a different school zone. Are we doing everything we can to ensure that they can stay at their home school and where they've been attending school and they're comfortable, or are we automatically?
There's opportunities there, and that's what we're going to be talking about in our upcoming meeting. But I think also, too, when there's challenges with workforce, bus drivers, different things like that. There's also challenges when we try to set up bus transportation where that child may be spending too long on a bus. And so that may be reasons why we don't keep that child. If that child's on a bus for 3 hours total for the day to and from school, then the team that is on the staffing may decide that it's not in the best interest. So there are opportunities, and I look forward to talking with the director over the transportation. And so, any help or anybody that wants to be involved in that conversation is certainly invited.
Is there a certain age that we start including the students in those conversations as far as,
Yeah, absolutely. We always want to include students in the conversation when they have the ability, to participate in those conversations. Many times there are reasons why we don't, but there are also probably more reasons why we do.
awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
So if I could add to that, Denise Santos is actually our contact for this.
Okay,
However, I've been talking with her and Ms. Williams about the possibility, given a number of case numbers or caseload that exists across Polk County, and it's a growing number, about the possibility of providing a support staff position in that department to more adequately address these issues. I do want to address the transportation issue. All of those students are protected under McKinney-Vento,
great.
which means that if the parent or the child's parents or the guardian indicates that they want their child to stay at their traditionally zoned school, they must be allowed to stay there. In fact, McKinney-Vento crosses county lines as well. So if a student somehow ends up in foster care, it's a Polk County student, and they end up in Hillsborough County, the requirement would be that Hillsborough is required to bus that student to the county line, and then we would be required to pick up that student and transport him or her back to their normal school. What you find, as was stated, it's regardless of workforce development, is that the reality of it is that the transportation time, it's not that transportation is lacking. It is that the timeline to move those students using magnet hub transportation routes and other things, we do very little private transportation for a number of reasons in Florida, but that can become the barrier. So the student or the caregiver or the case manager may ultimately make the recommendation for them to move closer to where they're currently residing, rather than that student be on the bus for an extended period of time. And so those are some of the issues that we run into. That's not a failure or a lack of effort on behalf of the busing department. It is just simply the reality of where that student is physically located versus where they'd like to attend. And then, as you know, we don't have the exact same career or workforce programs or academy programs at all of our schools. And so a student may have been participating in one and now chooses, or by virtue of being in this situation, finds that it's no longer accessible to them. And so we try to the best extent possible to maintain that continuity with the program. But again, there are other issues that arise, especially if students choose to work after school, other opportunities, other interests, and that can become the conflict that we ultimately end up dealing with. So I just wanted to make sure we provide that clarification. But we are currently reviewing Ms. Santos's department to make a determination as to whether or not a specialist or an additional coordinator in that department specifically for this and McKinney-Vento students would make more sense.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have a great relationship with Denise Santos. There's a lot of collaboration that goes on there as well.
Ms. Fields?
Good morning. I just wanted to commend you and your team for the work that you do in the community. And I really wanted to do a shout out to Ms. Markinia Butts Fisher. She is a blessing, and whenever I'm needing information about anything related to helping families, she's Johnny on the spot. And I didn't realize until I got an opportunity to have more conversation with her, all the benefits that foster children have beyond high school, being able to have their education paid for, all that stuff. Didn't realize that. So I guess one of the questions that I have is, how do you all ensure that when children are of age, that they are made aware of the benefits of continuing beyond high school and being able to go to college or wherever they choose to go, and the expense being paid?
Great question. You know, years ago, there was new statute allowing for children that once they turn 18, that they can have a choice to stay in extended foster care. It's amazing how many of these children do not have a support system once they turn 18 and they age out in foster care. So they have case managers. Once they turn a certain age in foster care, they actually have an assigned independent living coach. That assigned independent living coach who works with Markina ensures that that child knows of all the benefits available to them, so that child can make an informed decision on whether or not they want to be in extended foster care or the independent living program. So it's a very tight-knit group, and it's a group of children that turn into young adults that we are very focused on.
You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Ms. Miller?
That brought up one other question that I have about when they age out, because we talk about outcomes and not just getting them to graduation, but making sure they're independent living and gainfully employed. Years ago, I was invited, they would have home, almost like gatherings where you could invite friends over, and they would do almost like a housewarming where they would get things that the student would, or the young adult would need as they move out. Do they still do that? And how do you provide that after graduation care?
Yeah, so after graduation, and really we talk about post-18, right?
Right.
We really rely on, of course, there's some state funding that comes in to help support those young adults as they're transitioning into adulthood. We also have a recent grant with the Church of Latter-day Saints that have really kind of wrapped their arms around this post-18 population. And as they're transitioning into housing, we've got to teach them to learn to live on their own. And so through the Church of Latter-day Saints, they're also providing kind of starter kits to, purchase different items to get them set up in an apartment, in a house, with a roommate. But we've got different care lords that serve that population.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. There are no further questions.
Thank you.